When we make excuses, we never run out of things or people to blame. It's all too easy to blame the other person in a relationship for its failure. It's seldom just one person's fault for the breakdown of a relationship, but dumpers very rarely take responsibility for their 50% contribution of the breakup. It has often been my personal experience as a dumper, a dumpee, and now a breakup recovery coach that many dumpers avoid any type of responsibility. I've certainly done this as a dumper in the past, and it's not a version of me that I like. Stay tuned and take a walk with me through this video as I get into what the dumper really thinks and why your ex blames you for everything. Welcome back to The Love Fix. As always, it's Nick doing my best to get you through your breakups the best I can. Guys, if you could do me the honor of looking at the description, and at the bottom of that description there is a link. That link will take you to all of my socials, including my Instagram, Spotify and Facebook group. Also my one-to-one coaching services, where if you want to work with me one-to-one on your heartbreak so you can get over this a little bit easier, just hit it, book it in, and I will talk to you there. Okay, enough of that, let's get straight into it. For the rest of this video to make sense, I am going to tell you a little story. Former tennis champion John McEnroe always had an excuse or someone to blame for his actions or for how he felt. Despite his supreme talent and being the best tennis player on the planet for 4 years, every time he lost, it was never his fault. He used every excuse in the playbook to avoid taking responsibility for his bullshit. One time he had a fever, then it was body aches. He once said people's expectations of him caused him to lose. Hell, he even blamed one defeat to a friend because his friend was in love and he wasn't. The list gets more ridiculous as it goes on, from eating at the wrong time to he could hear a noise from the cameras on the tennis court because the cameraman adjusted his headset. Just like the dumper in many cases, rather than changing what he was doing to facilitate the changes he wanted, McEnroe's ego wouldn't allow him to be wrong. Therefore, it is easier to blame everyone else and walk away from the situation. This is true for many dumpers, but I will caveat that with, if your dumper tried to repeatedly communicate with you and you didn't hear the message, then they walked away because they had no other choice. For many dumpers, it's easier to walk away rather than work on a relationship. To justify their decision, they often must create a monster image of the dumpy in their heads to go through with the breakup. This reminds me of a time when I dumped the nicest, kindest human being I'd ever met, and the best I could come up with was that her brushing her teeth irritated the fuck out of me because the toothpaste would run down her chin like a fucking 3-year-old out of its head on mummy's Valium. The cold hard truth is, I wasn't turning up for the relationship because I was an immature fuckhead. Therefore, I wasn't getting what I wanted from the relationship, and it was just so easy to blame the girl I was with. This came back to bite me in the ass in May 2020 when my girlfriend at the time ended the relationship and seemingly blamed me for everything. It was fucking savage and so convincing I blamed myself for almost a year post breakup. The reality was, we were both as bad as each other. I wasn't taking care of my anxiety and blaming her for it. She wasn't taking care of her avoidant attachment style and blaming me for it. We were both listening to respond, not to understand, and blaming each other for it. When you stop listening to understand, no one feels heard. If you don't feel heard, then you won't feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you will begin to question the connection with your partner. If you begin to question the connection with your partner, you will begin to look for new connection elsewhere. The reason it is so easy for the dumper to blame you for everything is because when that connection breaks down, it will call into question their investment in the relationship and their identity. When something threatens their identity, it threatens their emotional survival. When something threatens their emotional survival, it can feel like they're going to die, and they become as capable as the most bloodthirsty lion, doing what it must to survive for another day. That is what emotional survival is to a human being. It's fucking everything. Your dumper is faced with their ego taking a beating because they thought investing in you was the right thing to do. Now they must question that investment, and they are thinking they either got it completely wrong by choosing you, or they need to change things about themselves to actually make the relationship work. Sadly, most find it easier to dump you and to find someone new who will put up with their bullshit so they never have to change themselves. Either way, them facing the possibility of getting shit wrong gives you a long line of John McEnroes. Him losing called into question his identity as a tennis player. Rather than taking his failures as a learning experience to become even better than he was, he started to blame the cameraman for having a bad day on the tennis courts. Your ex losing connection with you calls into question their identity or whatever the fuck they think they are. Rather than taking their failures as an opportunity to improve, they blame the breakup on the dumpy for brushing their teeth like a drugged up 3-year-old, and they say shit like, I just need to work on myself, but 1 week later on Facebook, they are in a new relationship with someone else. In conclusion, we have to be the change we want to see in our partner. To get the change they wanted in the relationship with you, it must be led by them. To get the change you want in a relationship, it must be led by you. Feelings for your partner will always fade over time. I don't give a fuck how special and different you thought your relationship was, because it's no fucking different to anyone else's. All relationships must understand one fundamental universal fact. Love is a choice, not a feeling, because the feelings do fade, and all you have left is the radical responsibility of choosing to invest in your partner even when the butterflies have flown away. So my friends, don't be a John McEnroe. As great as he was, he could have been even greater by his own admission if he had taken responsibility for his bullshit. Just think how great relationships could really be if everyone else owned their bullshit. If you liked today's video, please consider giving me a like and a subscribe. It would really help me out. But if you really want to help me out, if you could jump over to Instagram and give me a follow there. The handle is @the.lovefix. Or you can hit the link at the bottom of the description. That will take you to my link tree, and my Instagram will be there as well. Also, my Spotify and my one-to-one coaching services. Always remember, guys, you are enough. You are going to be okay, and this will get better. Stay the course, stay no contact, stay on your purpose. And the other thing to remember, a breakup is a terminal diagnosis that can give you new life if you let it be. Breakups can be a wonderful opportunity if you let it be. Breakups will make you into a better version of you if you let it be. Just because you felt your ex was special doesn't mean that they are. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean the rest of the world thinks that way. But I hear you. It is coming from your perception of the world and how you feel, and that is always okay. But please keep in mind, your ex is no more special than anyone else. They are an all-singing, dancing, farting meat monkey, just like me, you, and anybody else that you know. Take them down from the pedestal, and I promise you'll start feeling better. I'll see you on the other side.